welcome in my button mashers. It is I, NatesLegend, as always. Joined today by the one and only Doodles. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing, man?
Doing fantastic, man. We are so we're testing some waters here real quickly. Mostly because you came over for some other things, but I'm like, you know what? Let's give this a test run. I mean, I have some ideas. I think some things that could really blow us like out of the water here and make this kind of take it to the next level. So we are absolutely going to be trying that here shortly. But for now, hello and welcome in. How is everybody? How y'all doing? Doing good? Throw us a comment by all means. Let's go ahead and get some banners. Leave a comment. Come converse with us. Join us. We absolutely want to hear from you. So please, by all means. All right. We actually have one other guest here today.
Can I say one thing before we bring the guest?
Go ahead.
We are incredibly lonely. So if you would like to message, it does change everything for us. We are so happy when we get messages. It makes everything great. All right, so you can go ahead and do your
thing. Oh no, you're good. I'm just realizing as you say that Yoda, little baby Yoda fell. Grogu fell. My bad. Member. Right? It is. Yeah, he can hang and watch. It's all good. All right, so let's introduce our third here. So we have been joined by the one and only Mr. DukeMumford. Jeremy, how are you today, man?
I'm so good. How are you guys?
So good.
So good.
We all had a chance this morning. If you had a chance to check out the DLC, I guess, for lack of a better term, our live stream that we do in the Geek Dome. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, by all means, please do. But we had you on this morning. We had a chance to play the Back 4 Blood open beta. What did you think? We'll get into that in a little bit, but what are your first thoughts right off the bat here?
I'm in. I'll buy it.
Oh, it's gonna be so good, and we're gonna break it down, and it's just kind of our experience with it. It's gonna be so exciting. We're glad that we could have you on, not only right now, but also on the live stream. Thank you so much for all you do for us here, Jeremy, and we're happy to have you on. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to pass it over to the doodly do for a moment here. He's going to ask us our think about it question and go over some updates.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, before we get going on that, I should point out as well, we should probably throw this up. Follow all things DukeMumford. By all means, he's absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
Shows.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, Doodles, it's all you. Floor is yours.
All righty. Okay, so we were doing a think about a question, and I thought about it for a second. I like having contrarian thoughts every now and then.
Yup.
You know, when something is just naturally accepted as a good thing, sometimes you got to break it down.
Wait, should we say what the think about question is first?
He's getting there. He's building.
Okay, cool. Just make sure.
What's a really popular game that everyone seems to love, but you don't like? So that's the question.
Jeremy, we'll let you go first. Popular game that everyone likes that you don't.
Okay. You guys ready for this?
Absolutely.
So ready.
The Witcher 3.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, man. I can talk for days about why I don't like this game.
Okay. Give us your top reasons. Top reasons why you don't like this game.
Okay. So, for one... Okay, so this is probably a little bit unfair towards the game itself, but like everyone, I watched the Netflix series and I loved it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I should play The Witcher 3. And I think the first strike is that it's not Henry Cavill, which I know the game came before the Netflix series, but I can't go backwards in time. And I don't know. Like the voice actor for Geralt in the game he just sounds so like... I know that's his persona, is just to be like unenthused, but like I don't know, it's just not comparable, and I'll never be able to undo that. So that's like the first thing. But I mean, I think there's other things about the game that are just, I don't know, kind of pretentious in a way. They maybe purposefully or willfully, or I don't know why, but they just choose not to do a lot of things that you see in other games. Like they have a bunch of weird conventions that like modern RPGs don't do, like fast travel, for example. You have to go to a point to fast travel, and like that world is huge, like it's massive, and there's a lot of times where I don't know, the gear system is like super confusing, and they give you like little to no explanation about like stats and what gear matters to you. And I feel like there is just too much to do. It's too aimless. Like, and I feel like that's also true of the modern Assassin's Creed games.
That's what I was about to add. Assassin's Creed
Filler
is the
for the
same
point of
thing.
filler.
And I know it's memeable that like your horse is just like incompetent. Like I get that that's like a meme, but it doesn't like I think justify the fact that like your primary form of transportation is like not good, and you need it to get to fast travel points. So I don't know. I just,
as funny as the meme is, it's still counterproductive to the actual game itself.
Yeah, and I can acknowledge that it has deep lore. The combat I think is like relatively satisfying, although I thought the powers were kind of lame. And I get that there's all these things about it that I should like on paper, but like I cannot bring myself to finish it.
Yeah, I get it. No, I get that. It's especially with the newer Assassin's Creeds, having played those. I will add on. So I can't say that I enjoy it. I can't say that I dislike it. I have tried on 3 or 4 separate occasions to play this game, and I have just not been able to get into it. That's the problem I run into, is like I can't. It's okay. Like I'm wandering around. Cool. All right. I don't know. Just not for me.
I think the problem with me in The Witcher was I definitely got on the bus way too late. Everyone had already had their fun and declared The Witcher 3 to be the greatest game ever made. And then I jumped on after the fact, and I wasn't able to complete it for that reason.
Yeah.
That's the exact reason behind this Think About a question. So I love your answer.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great answer. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Doodles for his answer before I give mine, because I have a feeling he might hit me for mine, if I'm honest. He's close enough now to do it. Oh, I do want to point out also as well here, as we we'll go ahead and take our names down so we can just enjoy some nice conversation. I do want to point out we are both vaccinated. I highly encourage all of you to go do the same. Please go get vaccinated for the love of all that is holy. But yes, that's why we are able to
enjoy a lot of liberties that I used to enjoy. So I like that part.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Anyway, I don't mean to. Go ahead. Yeah. Go back to your answer.
Think about the question. Game that everyone likes that I don't like. And I'm like getting in trouble, so I'm just going to go ahead and say The Last of Us real quick.
Ooh, I can get behind this one.
Yep.
I don't have a good reason for not liking this game, except for the fact that I think it's a movie, and I don't think it's a game. I've never been more frustrated in the beginning levels of a game to make me drop out. So, yeah, The Last of Us lands on it. I haven't tried it in the last 5 years, but if I try it again, I don't think I'm going to love it.
Okay. All right.
I can actually get behind, like, that was my sentiment too. I got like a few hours in, then I hit like a wall. Like there's this building that's like full of like clickers everywhere and you can't get past it, or it's not like easy. And like, I've just never met a game that like makes itself so hostile towards the gamer, towards the player in the opening hours. Like there's no ammo, there's no supplies. If you don't like execute like an encounter perfectly, you're going to be boned for the rest of the level. That's my only complaint against it.
I haven't even gotten far enough to like experience what Jeremy's talking about. But I will say I hated the parts before that, so we'll get there.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Yeah.
All right. I don't know how this is going to come across on everybody else's side here.
Stretching.
Well, we already heard your opinion about Suicide Squad, so
hang tight. I can do the clicking noise. Let me see if I can do it. I don't know if I can. Nope. It's not going to happen this time.
Not a fan.
The Jared Leto laugh right next to me. I'm gonna fall apart.
Second, I will at some point in time do the clicker for you. I can do the clicker. It actually sounds more like what is it? Is it
The Grudge?
The Grudge. It sounds more like The Grudge.
Yeah.
Which
but
is
it's like
audio.
Yeah, it's like The Grudge with clicking in it.
If I had some milk, I could do it. But it's okay. All right, I digress. Okay, I like The Last of Us. Good answer. I would agree with you. Honestly, I couldn't get into it myself. I
appreciate. You know what? It's very rare that I say this out loud and people agree with me.
Right?
I've never had two people agree.
Two people at once.
Cool. I like this.
Fair. Well, I'm gonna, like I said, I think I'll go ahead and jump into my answer now. Grand Theft Auto 5. Really? You're not mad? Okay. Not mad. See, that's one that like everyone's all like, "Hey, come play with me. Come play with me. Come play with me." I'm like, I can't get into it.
Wait, are you talking single player or online? Because I think those are
across the board.
Across the board. Okay.
Across the board.
Here's where I'm at. Grand Theft Auto 5. If you're talking about story, then you're talking about a legit like fun experience that you can waste a good amount of time on.
Yeah.
If you're talking about like online, you're gonna meet some of the most toxic people you've ever met in your life, and it's great.
Online is a train wreck. It's like 4chan, but in a video game.
Yeah. It's just a wasteland where manners go to die.
That's kind of surprising though, that even like the single player for you like falls flat. Like Grand Theft Auto 5 is the only Grand Theft Auto game I've played from start to finish, because it's the only one I think that's like actually fun. It has characters that are like kind of relatable in a way, except for Trevor. I don't know nobody. If you relate to Trevor, you should probably seek professional help. Yes, and like it was the only like Grand Theft Auto with good gunplay too. So that's surprising, Nate. But I can understand not being into it.
The last one I played that I actually thoroughly enjoyed, and I don't know, and it's more of a nostalgia thing, I'm sure. I believe it was Grand Theft Auto 2. The one, it was over the top, and it I enjoyed that one.
I'm wondering if you're talking Vice City, or are you talking San Andreas?
No, I think he's talking like OG.
I'm talking
like
OG, like back in the day. OG, like over
like
the
top down.
So like PlayStation 1. PlayStation 1.
Yeah,
so like we're going that far.
We're going that far. That was the last one that
doesn't even exist anymore.
Right? That was the last Grand Theft Auto that I'm not even kidding.
Dude, I saw a PlayStation 2 unironically set up the other day, and I almost cried tears of joy. I was like, whoa. I haven't seen that in a long time.
I have one. It's over in the closet there somewhere. It's gonna be okay, y'all. So we're working on this. I'm actually redoing my office. I'm gonna put all of them on display. My 3 is now officially down, so I got all of my old systems that we're gonna put on display here for us, and it's gonna be really cool. And we're gonna get there, and it's gonna happen. Nonetheless, we're gonna keep on track here. So I do want to point out actually the one other thing that really that makes Doodles think about this question. You've seen it, Mr. Duke. The Suicide Squad.
Whoa.
Okay. So here's what spawns this entire question. Okay, and this is my show, which means I have control. So I get to I don't get to be attacked. Actually, I'm totally gonna be attacked. I absolutely fucking hated the show. I hated it. I hated the movie. Absolutely hated it. I understand why people would think it's like, why they think it's fun, why it's energetic, it's funny at times. I'm not, I won't. That
he's dead inside, everybody. He's dead inside. He needs to hear it.
I am.
He can't have fun properly.
I've never met someone that's so wrong about something.
I am
any topic, really.
No, okay, but here's my take on it, and you guys are going to straight up attack me for this. I know it. I've been attacked all day. The only person, this is saying something because it's Chaz that agrees with me, and Chaz and I never see eye to eye on movies, and him and I are just like this on this. The storytelling is absolutely terrible. It's choppy. It's convoluted. It's thrown together. It's such a bad movie, and you're going from a movie that made sense at the it was not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. I will not stand up for Suicide Squad. It made more sense than this movie did. This movie was so bad. I would actually rank the original Suicide Squad above this one. That's how bad it is.
No, I'm stopping this. I'm stopping this. The first one is not better than the second one.
The first one,
it's just not possible.
Let me talk about let me talk about the score for a second here. The first one had a terrible score. It was jumping from one song to another, and it just bounce, right? And it wasn't good. But it stuck with one song per scene, one song per person. So this one tried to merge both like current music with actual score music, and it didn't work because it just fought against itself. I've seen it done where it's wonderfully done, but it's jumping. It starts out and you get the first clip of a modern song, and then boom, suddenly we're into score. And it's like, okay, well, what was the point in even playing the first little clip of that song if you were just going to jump into score and then never revisit the song? What was the point of this?
To establish a vibe, man. That movie was all about vibes. Like when the original, like when the first, the first team comes out and it's playing like the music and you have like this huge cast of misfits, and then very unfortunate things happen after. Like the vibe is that like these people are not going to make it. Like that is the vibe that's established.
So what they were going for is this vibe of no one is off limits. Literally anybody in this movie could be killed at any second for any reason.
Yeah.
And I get that that's what they were going for, but it came across too heavy, right? It was everybody died. I mean, obviously not everybody. Go see the movie. I'm not trying to spoil it, but like, it was an across the board thing, and it's like, well, okay, now I don't know. I don't think that just anyone could die. Everyone's gonna die. Okay, cool. Like it pulled away. It gave me multiple vibes, two vibes that just clashed. It was like two different movies that were trying to be one.
We might have to put off the Ascent so we can talk about this.
Yeah,
I know. I'm sorry. No, we'll go ahead. We can progress. We can progress.
I just want to ask one thing. I want to ask one thing. Okay, so I'm going to compare two scenes from the movie. Okay. And so scene one is Cara Delevingne in Suicide Squad doing her little thing and, controlling all the zombie things. Okay, so imagine that. And then imagine just how utterly goofy Starro the Conqueror is, just like walking through the city. It's just like waddling like a penguin. You're telling me that the first movie is better than the second movie?
I'm not saying that it wasn't less, or that it wasn't less, or it's more funny, or it had plenty of humor. I'm not discounting the humor.
I really just got to get this out, man. I got to get it out. Any movie that stars a starfish that will mess your shit up, that's a good movie. I'm gonna leave it at that. You are fun enough for me to watch 8,000 times. I can do this.
Okay, all right. We'll progress on here. Right. You're not wrong.
This is not over.
The point of the.
This is absolutely not.
It's just over for now.
But I do have news.
All right, guys. Not so breaking news. Let's go ahead and jump into it here. Now, once again, we're gonna throw into to the one and only Mr. Doodly. Go ahead. What do you got for us? What news you got,
guys? I have really good news. Okay. Danny DeVito. You guys know Danny DeVito.
Obviously.
He's
going to reprise his role for the Penguin, but not in a way that we're expecting.
Okay. Well, how is he reprising Penguin roles?
He is actually working on a one-shot Penguin comic right now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's currently teaming up with artist Dan Mora for a story. According to Batman Group editor Paul Kaminsky, they're going to be working on this. Danny DeVito's take on the Penguin from 1992's Batman Returns is nothing short of iconic, and he's working with comics to come up again with another.
I thought you were gonna say like in Flashpoint, because like every DC thing is in Flashpoint apparently,
right?
And you know what would have been really like, so when you said this, I was like, it's gonna be Danny DeVito in an insane asylum, and he thinks he was the Penguin. Like he's just a crazy person. Like,
oh please.
Like he wasn't like the actual Penguin, but like he just thinks he's the Penguin. I don't know. That would be fun.
Note, I want to piggyback on that. I need a story from like It's Always Sunny where like, is it Frank? Frank gets locked up in an insane asylum talking about being the Penguin, and he has the umbrella for some reason. It's just no reason to be explained. He just has it.
I'm here for that. I would actually watch.
That's a great Sunny episode.
Sunny in Philadelphia. But...
more news coming.
All right, more news. Yep. What else we got?
Marvel's Avengers: War for Wakanda looks like the Black Panther game you want, coming from GameSpot. Steve Watts wrote an article here. The DLC should be dropping tomorrow, and August 16th. And I'm really excited. I played the game from the beginning. It does have its bugs. people have their complaints overall about Avengers. But Black Panther looks like a super welcome addition to the franchise, and I'm excited to see how he plays.
I had a chance to start the game. How far did I get in? Okay, so I got past Utah.
Okay.
But I didn't get much further. I'm still with Bruce Banner right now as Miss Marvel.
Okay. Have you found Stark yet?
No.
Okay. So
no,
you're not super far into the game.
No,
yet,
no.
When you find Stark, things are going to start opening up. I do enjoy that scene a lot. Jeremy, have you played Avengers at all?
I played the beta and decided it's probably one of the worst games I've ever played. And I know that's probably a little unfair because it's a beta, but I mean that's kind of what a beta is for, though, is to entice you into the game and also, you know, get some like real player feedback. And it's just, I think there are so many fundamental flaws with the game that I don't think it can be like the combat is abysmal, especially when you had so many games to like piggyback off, like Arkham Asylum, God of War, if you wanted to be hack a slash, you know, like there's so many games that like did it right, and it's like they just decided to like not look at any games and just like start from the ground up. But I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the graphics were gorgeous. It was just kind of, the game's just kind of a hot mess, in my opinion.
Complaint with Avengers for me, and I put in hours on this game. I have all my characters leveled, but I don't envision Thor fighting as just a brick shit house that makes no sense.
Yeah,
he's slow. He's hard to use, but he's supposed to be this like powerhouse that can't be stopped. But he's like my worst character.
I really liked playing as Miss Marvel. Like I thought her character was like, her character was fun. I actually couldn't stand Iron Man because like I just felt like he was really hard to control.
He was different for sure.
Yeah, and his like, and then I think about like Anthem. It's like, yeah, Anthem had a lot of problems, but like they nailed flight combat, and it's like they didn't like reference, they didn't even look at, you know, anything that Anthem did in that. Like, I don't know, it was just weird. It was like they made this game like in a bubble where other video games don't exist. But
it's very much it does feel like a game that was pushed out by a major studio that thinks they know what the kids want. You know, like it feels like they're taking a shot at making a video game. But like, I don't know, they're just not following trend.
Okay.
I've heard good things about the story, but
the story is pretty good.
I will point. It is a pretty enticing story. If I didn't have other games to play, I absolutely would have kept playing that one when I picked it up. The only one that I would say is more addicting in the Marvel universe is the Spider-Man games.
Oh, for sure.
That was so addicting the moment I picked it up.
That's another game they could have referenced. They could have looked at what Spider-Man did good and then just did that. I don't know. It's so weird.
Don't make your characters feel so bulky.
I mean,
Spider-Man was very fluid. Really rough.
I'll play devil's advocate on this one though. Okay, I will. I know it's not necessarily a great thing to do, but I will play devil's advocate and say, at the same time, they want to make the game their own, and I cannot fault them for that. Right?
That's
like
true.
You want to make it unique and original and bring your own thing to the table. And I mean, I can't really fault them if they want to take things their own way. But yes, I agree. Yeah. They should have probably brought in a little bit more from these other games that are all a part of essentially, I don't want to say the same universe, but like they're all roundabout there.
Well, yeah. Also, they could have, worked more on bringing more than one map per area. That would have been good.
Has Spider-Man even come out yet?
What's that? No, he was promised to us at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like he was supposed to be our exclusive. The reason why PlayStation guys get this game, you're supposed to get it for Spider-Man. We still haven't gotten him.
That is exactly why I purchased, why I got it on the PlayStation as well. Same rationale.
Hey, you know what, guys? Video games make promises, and you know what? They always fulfill those promises.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. Yeah, what else do we got?
We got No Man's Sky coming back up with news. You guys remember No Man's Sky? Right?
Yeah.
This game.
I love No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky is such an interesting game for me to talk about. I love it.
Okay, go ahead. No, I'm just curious. This is the game that ultimately got essentially remade after launch. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
It had a huge following. It was going to be this open space. You're going to be able to explore everything. It had a bunch of problems at launch, but then they kept working on it. They're still working on it, and they have a new update. called Frontiers that they're teasing. And I don't have a whole lot on it yet, but they teased the update. I'm excited to see what comes out. It says, let's see. Yeah, I don't have like a
no. Mostly just that they're working on it. It looks like nothing too.
Yeah,
they're
just talking about the fact that they've been working on this game.
Visions. Oh wow, it looks like they have a lot going on. I'm not watching that video. Screw that. All right, but I see what they're going for. That definitely. That is a company that I think every developer should learn from. They took the feedback from the fan base. You have to call it the fan base, even at their rate. They took so much feedback that it's uncanny. I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words, mostly because my ADHD. I have 12 things going through my head, but
rocky launch they had, and they were able to recover, and that's definitely something to admire how they handled the problems at launch.
And I also think it's important to acknowledge too that like not only do they take feedback and implement it, but like they're willing to, they don't make any excuses. They have never, like, I think the only excuse they made was that they didn't have enough time to build out the game they want. But like since day one, they've never charged for DLC. No matter when you buy the game, you get all of it. And like it's like they're continually working to fulfill the promise that they set out. And I like some of the I've played No Man's Sky for years, so I've pretty much been in like on every update, and it's just been cool to watch like how much more streamlined the game gets. It's like the next major update, we changed these recipes due to player feedback. It's like okay, if they can do it, why can't they fix goddamn Cyberpunk 2077?
Right?
It's funny how much those two games are going to have in common over the lifespan. It's going to be so fun to see. Because it is kind of the same like concept. Like Cyberpunk just really shit the bed on launch, and it's like how they recover, we'll see. A bunch of updates and stuff. I haven't played it yet though.
It really is interesting to see the contradiction between the difference between, say, your releases 5-6 years ago, or even a little sooner, where they're willing to go in and make those changes. Even, I mean, let's be honest, even Overwatch at the beginning was really good about like listening and taking feedback and implementing it. Since then, it feels like they've realized that they don't have to listen to us. We're going to buy the game anyway. And I'm just waiting for that day that we're finally just like, okay, as a society, as a video game society, we're done pre-ordering games. We're done, giving money to these companies that are giving us absolute shit across the board, So I'm really hoping that we're going to reach that breaking point of like, they're going to have to listen to us or else they're not going to make any money, But
you're going to have your good companies that care, and then you're going to have your companies that don't. And those ones will become obviously apparent.
I also, and I was talking about how I think The Witcher is pretentious. I think The Witcher is pretentious because of its developer and because of CD Projekt Red. And I think that's very apparent in Cyberpunk 2077. Like they assume that like people will just buy this game because our name is on it. And I think for a time that worked, and then everyone in the world played it and realized it was trash and then refunded it. So it's like, they can't. Yeah, they either like fix it or like nobody will ever buy a game for them ever again.
Yep, you can't break that trust with us. It's absolutely not fair. I do believe that reaches the end. All right, so that covers everything in regards to the updates here. Thank you so much for doing that for us.
I was extremely lazy. If there's more news, it's probably more news.
It is what it is. We'll pick up on it another week. It's not like we don't mix and match and just talk about whatever we want whenever we want. But guys, we'll hop into our second topic here. Kind of teased it a little bit. Back for Blood, y'all. Oh, you know what I didn't do for this even? We're just because I want it, because I'm needy like that. Let's go ahead and add that and go ahead and throw it across the bottom. Back for Blood, y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna break this one down for you. So
Blood. Okay, go ahead.
Did I do it? Oh, okay. All right. So it was originally slated for an October 12th release. This was one of those games that did get pushed back. It was originally announced in March of 2019 with a initial. Wow. Excuse me. Wow. I'm going to go ahead and try all of this one more time, guys. So it was originally announced in 2019. It had an initial release date of June 22nd, and it is slated for an October 12th release. Wow, I don't know why I got my notes so bad there. We did end up with a small delay on it. I would guess mostly because of everything that happened with COVID. I mean, whatever. We had our closed beta, which was open to anybody from that had pre-ordered the game, or if you signed up to potentially get a code, which, by the way, that's how I ended up with my code, was just kind of signed up and got it. And then we have an open beta that is currently going on. As mentioned before, we had a chance to play it on our stream. It was absolutely a blast. That is going until really through tomorrow. I don't know what time tomorrow, but it is through tomorrow. Super exciting. So Back 4 Blood is essentially Left 4 Dead remix.
It's
right?
Left 4 Dead.
It's Left 4 Dead.
It's Left 4 Dead.
it plays so extremely close to it. You got your zombies that you're trying to fight through with the different types. We'll break those down here in a few moments. But it is trying to get from point A to point B with as many zombies in the way as possible. And you are just fighting your way there. It does work much like a show as well. So it is broken up. So, ultimately, there's 4 people per lobby, up to 4 people per lobby. You can play with bots, which was absolutely fantastic. Actually made our experience this morning a little bit easier, especially compared to other play-alongs. The beta itself is an 8-round map, though. Now, for context, Left 4 Dead was 4,
it was
5,
about 4 chapters.
4 chapters.
I think 4 or 5. I don't remember.
Do you remember there, Jeremy?
It was anywhere from 3 to 5, depending on the level.
Mm-hmm.
So the beta itself for Back 4 Blood is 8 levels long, which it's broken into 2 different sections. You have kind of your Act 1 and Act 2, which alludes back to the Left 4 Dead. That's the exact same way that they did it, right? They did the kind of as a movie-esque thing. So very reminiscent, but this was 8 rounds, and I just got to point out, we went through 5 of them before we called it quits. And oh my goodness, we played for like an hour and 15 minutes just to get through the 5 of them. They are very long, and I'm sure that it's just the beta. I really hope that they cut those back, though. So new additions. What about you guys? So when it comes to the new additions, what they've made different from oh my goodness. Oh yes, John Goodman.
That's my favorite character in the new game.
All right. Pointing out John Goodman as a character in the game.
So Hoffman, there's a character you can play as Hoffman.
I'll show it.
He is John Goodman in The Big Lebowski, and he is my favorite character. He's John Goodman. I've been looking at pictures of John Goodman for 5 minutes now, hoping that Nate would look at my computer and wonder what is going on.
What are you?
No kidding. At? Is he? So he's actually based off of him? Off Walter?
I don't know. I don't think so, but in my opinion, it's John Goodman.
I can see where you're
close.
Okay. It looks like John Goodman.
Let me pull this up here, guys.
I'm not mad about the comparison.
I like it. I think it's so fun.
Okay, let's do a Chrome tab. We'll do John Goodman. All right, so this is what we're looking at, John Goodman wise.
John Goodman.
Just fresh images for y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll close that,
now
which will bring us back. I already got it up for you guys as well.
That's magic. I mean, it'd be more magical.
There you go. I can see it.
Yeah. Now, if you've seen the Big
right there, like that makes me think Walter.
Okay. I hadn't pieced those together. I hadn't thought about it, but that is a very valid point. It's a very valid point. I love it. All right, back to the original question, guys. So additions to the games, new things that they've added. So to kind of talk about some of the things. So they've added a card system, which gives you perks and different abilities based off of which card that you select. All sorts of new guns and
it's
melees.
Kind of reminiscent of like Call of Duty's Black Ops, like your zombie perks that you would get. It kind of feels similar to that. So you get a set of cards, and you get to choose each round to activate one card, and yeah, it actually helps out a lot. There's the one where you can change your pushback to a knife attack, and that is probably my favorite card.
That one actually is my favorite card as well. Being able to melee instead of just push. Jeremy, what about you? What are your thoughts on the card system?
I really like it, and I'm excited to see what other cards they release in the full game. So I've put in a little bit more time than you guys, so I've pretty much have all the cards now at this point. So I assembled a deck in our playthrough where it was melee focused. So almost all of my possible cards were contributing to that. So it might be more damage resistance, more stamina, regenerate health on melee kill. There's even a card in there for like a heavy melee attack. That's an ability that you can add on. And so I think like what's cool about the card system, I know some people are not like crazy about it yet, but I feel like there's going to be a lot more depth there. I like that it'll allow you to more or less like create a build, rather, because in Left 4 Dead there wasn't that. It was like, all right, well, I'm either going to go assault rifle or shotgun. That's my build, Whereas like I can go melee. Yeah, exactly. It's like I can go melee and I can get abilities and cards that help me be a more effective melee character. But on the other side of, the gun, I guess, you can have a deck that's like gun focused. And I have one of those now too. So there's a perk card that gives me, I think it was 20% extra damage, but like 50% less stamina. So there's a drawback there, but like for gun damage, I mean, that's pretty significant. So maybe I'm playing like an LMG kind of, like I'm using like an MG like 249 and I'm just like mowing people down. And so then I also take ammo capacity. I also take something that increases like ammo pickups as an example. So I think that's going to add a lot more depth to the traditionally really basic Left 4 Dead gameplay.
I would agree. It adds a customization to it. It really does. That really is the best word to use. The customization. I wouldn't really even call it quite a loadout personally, just because I mean you're not really editing your gun. Yeah, I mean you can pick up attachments for your guns, but you're not really editing your loadout. It's really based off of what's there. So the card system is mostly a perk system. I want to make sure that that's kind of the takeaway. It really is a perk system.
To go with the loadout system, though, there is the beginning of the level, the shop box, which is super new, like super interesting new thing they've added, where you can start a new gun every round if you wanted, buying a gun, or you can just buy your replenishables, your grenades, your whatever you use.
I'll add on to that. So yes, you do have at the beginning of every round, you do have a shop that you can visit. This is extremely different from the original like Left 4 Dead, where you may have a gun on the ground, but it's really not an upgrade. Whereas the new shop that they have, so you're actually walking around as you're wandering the map, there are copper pieces around that you can pick up. Usually come in increments of anywhere from 25, 50, 100 to 150. And it all adds up. You end up being able to purchase new firearms, attachments for your weapons. You can purchase pipe bombs and your explosions. So it allows you to kind of replenish as long as you've been picking up the copper pieces. So exactly what what you'd expect from an upgrade like this. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on the shop? What kind of your opinion on that? Do you think it's beneficial, or do you think they should have kept it?
I think it's beneficial, especially because there's, in addition to just like the card system, there's more items. Like there's a lockpick kit, which you guys saw me use, that allows us to unlock specific doors or to unlock like a gun case that has a minigun in it. So I think being able to acquire some of those items is helpful, especially like if you die and then you reset. It's like, all right, so when we get to this event, we're gonna need a pipe bomb, so I'm gonna go ahead and take one just in case the game doesn't let me find one. So I mean, I like that too, and with the way that people play Left 4 Dead, you check every nook and cranny and corner and room anyway. Why not allow, it makes sense that you'd find currency that you use to spend at the shop to not only buy those things, but to buy, maybe an upgraded version of a gun, or maybe you don't like the shotgun that you just picked up and decided to try, or weapon mods. So it's good. I think it helps create like a sense of like progression in that like you're getting more powerful over time rather than just you're the same from level 1 to level 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did notice as we were progressing on, the guns that you find on the ground were actually increasing with you as well. So like we started seeing more blue guns and kind of already upgraded guns, which was really nice. There were more guns in this one, more availability to them. And I don't know if this is going to be because that's just how gameplay is, or if it's just because it's the beta and they want to be able to just provide you with as many firearms as possible, go try them all out. But there definitely were so many more guns than Left 4 Dead. Not as many as Call of Duty.
No.
Definitely not as many as Call of Duty. But very reminiscent. They were able to actually make it feel modern in that regard.
Yeah, they definitely expanded their inventory, which is cool. I would like to see the shops kind of be a little bigger. Buy more items from them in the actual game, but because there's not a whole lot of choice.
There's not.
In the shop, you have like 2 guns and then 2 attachments you can pick, and then you can buy whatever replenishable. And then some card thing up top.
Yeah, there's also team perks that you can purchase that help your entire team out. They definitely cost a lot more, so you got to be strategic with when you purchase them. But
exactly. So in game, I'd like to see more guns at the shop with a little more attachments. Other than that, I really like what I've seen as far as what they've changed.
What they've added. Anything to add there, Jeremy, to Doodle's statement?
I do agree that it would be nicer if there was like one more gun option, because like there have been matches where I've played where it's like I didn't buy a single gun from the shop until like maybe like level 5 or level 6 because they just weren't better or they weren't what I was looking for. So it would be nice, like, if they had like one of each class available at each time. Like it's random, quality random gun. It may not be better, but at least like you should have the option to purchase a shotgun if you want a shotgun.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna recommend. Like, I mean, because there were no shotguns at any shop. There were no shotguns in the shop. So first off, I don't know if that was intentional or just what the luck of the draw was through the 3 or 4 matches that I played. But yeah, no shotguns, and I would add on to and agree with you there. If we could just get one more gun, one of each type, one of each class.
Yeah.
Let me purchase it. That way I can switch up without feeling like I have to start from scratch.
And I noticed that later on they did start, like you guys probably already said this, but they started adding guns with the attachments later on in level. So it made it easier for you to be like, oh, well, I know I built this gun. It's got purple attachments, but this gun is different and it also has attachments. It's not that much of a loss.
I'm getting the same fire rate, but I get a different type of scope with a better stock or whatever. Go ahead, Jeremy. Sorry. Go ahead.
And I think what's kind of cool too, like I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like as we progressed and we started finding guns with attachments, some of them had red attachments. I think I've never been able to purchase red attachments even on like the final level. So I think red attachments are probably like the top tier. Like you can buy yellow legendary, but I've never been able to buy red. So it's like, so there's a bit of like a gamble there. It's like, well, this gun is a lower quality, or maybe it's a different version of the same gun I'm using, but it comes with red attachments. Like, is that worth, maybe it's worth picking this up and then seeing if I can pick up some other attachments later on. So, but, I think that's kind of just like, there's a certain amount of like variability in the game, like even in the card system, because like you have 15 total cards in your deck, but you can only draw from 5 at a time and it's randomized. You may not get the cards in your deck that you want like at the start, so like there's enough to create like a differentiated experience, but then there's enough to create a differentiated experience every time you play. Like, when I play Left 4 Dead with friends, and I've played it for years and years, and I even still play it today with friends, like, I get many friends that get to the point where, like, I'm burned out. Like, it's the same thing every time. And they're not wrong. Like, once you know the level, the surprise is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
But
even this one, I noticed that like I knew what was coming up, but like it was still like I'm still excited to I know how to beat it, but like at the same time, like it's still stressful and intense.
And also like the introduction of like the mid-level boss battle with the was it the ogre?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that mid-level boss battle I thought was way fun. Definitely a welcome addition. Instead of like seeing the tank, you just see like this crazy boss with a health bar. Like that's so much better.
About that boss, I was watching the announcement trailer where they kind of the teaser where they start to show that, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna," or I think it was E3 or whatever. They're like, "Oh, and we're gonna introduce new things and whatever else." And the trailer looked like it was following, like they ran into the tunnel, and it looked like this thing was supposed to be following them down the tunnel, and I'm thinking like, we're gonna have to book it through this tunnel while fighting through, and like you can't let him catch up. Like think. You know Arkham Knight when you get your car down and you're getting chased by Red Hood.
Oh yeah.
Like and like that's what I kind of felt like it was going to be. And then no, you have to fight him, and then he burrows into the ground and he doesn't chase you, and then he reappears later. Like
or you have your Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, where you're being chased around the level by a giant snake, and you have to do time challenges in order to not get killed by the thing. I mean, I feel like some chasing you that did feel right. I think I know what you're talking about with the trailer, and that did feel like that.
Yeah, like
I'm wondering if we didn't try to kill it, if it would have tried to chase us.
Yeah, like how far will it actually chase us?
Yeah, I know this because I have been in groups where we just ran past, and I mean it stops chasing you to a point. Like once you go through that little door and then you're kind of navigating through the tunnels, like it stops chasing you then, but it's gonna appear later. Like no matter what, you have to like deal with it at some point.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
You're gonna have to kill this guy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I've never tried to run past like at the very last part when you're exiting the tunnel and you're going like back on the ground. Like I've never been with a group that tried to run past him there, but I have a feeling it'd be very difficult because he has the ability to knock you back.
Yeah,
you know. That this reminds me of game mechanic wise, where you try to like ditch it and it comes back later. Is there's Dark Souls 3 when you're getting into Irithyll of the Boreal Valley. There's a big dog that jumps on the bridge, right?
Okay.
If you don't kill it on the bridge, it's going to come at you when you're in the water, and you need to do this when it's on the bridge because like when you're in the water, you're slower, and this thing is fast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not going to break us down for much longer. But
Dark
Souls 3 is a very fun game. You guys check it out.
Okay.
It's so much fun.
All right. No, that's fair. That definitely sounds like a fair comparison.
If
at the
you
very
like
least.
breaking controllers and TVs, Dark Souls 3, such a good game.
No.
What a recommendation!
Recommendation from the Diddly Doo.
All right. So let's keeping things kind of moving along. It definitely is not without its issues. Like let's be honest here. Lots of new additions. It is absolutely fantastic. But a couple that I noticed. I definitely want your guys' opinion. Some things that you noticed were broken. The first one that I want to bring up out of the two that I really want to. First one is the audio issues. So there's this kind of branches into two different factions here. If we're going to be honest, first one is the Horde audio that we ran into. It's very distorted. There is a lot of noise coming at you all at once, and it distorts if you're wearing headphones.
Yeah,
I would love for them to fix that because seriously, the moment a horde comes, it is so overbearing in your ears. Your speaker can't quite keep up with it. It's bad. It is so bad. Doodles, you experienced this a little bit. Yeah. You said that, Jeremy, you did not, though. Is that right?
Yeah. No, I haven't experienced any issue like that.
Okay, it could be. I mean, I'm using Arctis, SteelSeries Arctis 3s specifically, is what I was using. It could be the speakers. I mean, they're not high end, whatever headphones, but I experienced this on both my Xbox and my PC, which has me a bit worried. Mm-hmm. I may try my Corsairs a little later on and see how they do.
And I experienced mine on the $30 headset that I bought at Walmart. So
that makes sense.
No fault from there. It could be a no fault. Mm-hmm. Like, it's gotta be the game then.
The other little faction here that we're looking at. So Doodles decided not to put this in with the news. Apparently, some of the zombies were saying racial slurs.
Yeah, there's a going around of a streamer who had zombie horde say something to him, and
it is a racial slur, and it was a black gentleman. Therefore, it definitely hit home. They did. I will point out. So Turtle Rock, the developers have announced that they will be investigating and making sure to remove that. Their justification for it was they basically took 2 audio tracks and combined them, and it just happened to be how the audio tracks fell on this particular zombie. I don't see it being an intentional thing necessarily, but I don't know if that's necessarily an answer to what happened, you know?
It's a it's a very unfortunate audio bug to have spotted during your beta just before.
Yeah.
That's
that should have been weeded out well before now. At this point, you should know what the sounds sound like, or have had enough experience with it. But nonetheless, I mean, that's kind of the first issue I had. Now, the second issue that I personally had with it was the zombies and bots kept jumping forward. So like they're in one spot, essentially a lag, but not quite a lag, because like they just disappear and reappear a few feet in front of them.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're still in the same trajectory, same. It just, they stop and then appear suddenly ahead. Kind of took me out, made it hard to. Made aiming really hard, which I know you likely will want to talk about your grievances with the aim system, but it really made aiming kind of difficult. You didn't really know where they were going to pop up. That's me personally. Anyway, those are kind of my grievances. Doodles, what are yours?
I did want to go off. We did talk while we were playing about the aim system being kind of broken for consoles. That was fun. I was using the sniper on an Xbox, so I was definitely able to reap the benefits.
Oh yeah,
and I did it with no shame. And I assisted through the whole game. I didn't care. It's all good.
Tell us what exactly it would do. Like, how bad is the actual aim?
It's lock in, bro. It's lock in. It's toggle aim. I can toggle, and I'm on the guy. I toggle, I'm on the zombie. I'm toggle.
Like fire. Call of Duty.
It was
literally aimbot.
It was
Call of Duty.
It was worse than that. It is so bad. You'll be like up here. You'll like.
I don't know, man. I've seen
and
some
you're just like
egregious
zipping down
MW2.
here to the zombie.
Yeah, I've seen egregious clips of aimbot on MW2. I'm not going to say it's quite that level, but I am going to say it is pretty close. It's good. It's a good time for me, at least.
It is definitely an aim assist versus an aim bot.
Yeah.
It's not quite full aim bot level where like you can still miss, you can still, but
I did have parts where it wasn't like quite locking the way I wanted it to.
I noticed that as well.
There were times where it was like over good, you know what I mean? There was times where it's like I'm aiming at the guy and it's not going to hit him, but then he's further away and I'm just like barely going at it and it's going to hit him. I'm like, I don't understand consistency, but I enjoy it when it works.
It is definitely in beta. Jeremy, what are your grievances with the game so far? What do you hope they can correct?
It seems like the difficulty is not tuned super well. Like I think so in our playthrough, like stages 1 through 3 were pretty easy, no issues. Then we get to stage 4, the ship, and then there was one moment where there was like 4 of those really tall graspers, like whatever they call them. There was like 4 of them in a row. Like that's a pretty big, spike. So, but they did acknowledge that they are going to tweak some difficulty because it does feel like overwhelmingly the game is too easy at points, and then it gets insanely hard. So they said they're going to adjust that, and I'm excited to see what that looks like. I think that's my main grievance, honestly. It does feel like ammo can be somewhat scarce, but I think that can only be. I think you don't really encounter that issue if everyone is using different guns. I've been in a party where all 4 of us were using assault rifles and we were all out of ammo.
Oh yeah, no, that would be rough. We did really good at switching off.
It was good. We had a good talk about when we were in stream. I remember.
All right.
We were like, I'm gonna go sniper. Jeremy's gonna go shotty, and Nate's gonna go AR.
I always I default.
Yeah.
There. All right, guys, let's give our quick quick summary, 2-sentence tops. Quick thoughts on the game. Jeremy, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
If you liked Left 4 Dead but want a more grown-up, refined version of Left 4 Dead, this is that game. Back 4 Blood is absolutely the successor to Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, I love it. Doodles, what are your thoughts?
Back 4 Blood, I'm going to go and say basically kind of the same thing. Back 4 Blood is definitely a welcome addition to the franchise, and boomers are supposed to be slow. So,
yeah, that was actually really interesting as well. We can break down when the game comes out. We'll actually have another episode dedicated to it.
More about the changes there.
We spent a lot of time on it here. I'm gonna leave it. I mean, I guess I can kind of leave it. Nah, we're gonna do it. I don't care. We're gonna talk the Ascent, guys. Let's go ahead and jump right in. The Ascent. This is our main topic of the day. I know we're like way behind, but I want to be able to talk about it because we spent some time this week playing and definitely have some hot takes on it. So I'm gonna give the floor over. Oh goodness. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and give the floor over to Jeremy for a moment. Tell us about the Ascent. Tell us about the game, where development. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the Ascent is cyberpunk future where people live in space and on other planets and coexist with aliens. And on this particular planet, everyone's living in an arcology, which is, I don't know, essentially like a big tower. I guess that's my understanding. You never see it from the outside. Yeah, it's a really big skyscraper, and the whole thing is run by corporations. That's where the cyberpunk aspect comes out. And one day the main the corporation that you work for, because that's what pretty much everyone does. They work for corporations. They go bankrupt, and they're the ones controlling the arcology, and so all hell breaks loose. Like the gangs take over, the other corporations start warring with each other, and you basically just need to do what you're told and help reestablish order with another corporation you're working with. It's a top-down-ish twin stick shooter. It's kind of plays like what was that? A Returnal. Kind of like there's a bullet hell aspect to it, but it has a variety of different guns, different perks, abilities, and all that. But it's also gorgeous. It's probably one of the best looking games I've seen. It's easily the best looking game I've seen this year. So it's a spectacle.
I can't necessarily disagree with that. Now, thank you so much. That great synopsis of what's going on. I mean, when it comes down to the overall story, it's definitely a dystopian future situation, which is right where we're headed, y'all. That is where not even headed. We're in a dystopian future. Don't at me on that. We are in a dystopian future. This is hell. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So, Doodles, you and I had a chance to play it a little bit. Yeah. We didn't get far. No. So, Jeremy absolutely loves it, and I'm going to let him break it down as to why he loves it so much here in a few moments. Really get into the nitty gritty. But I want to hear your take. The little bit that we played. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, there are so many games for me. Oh man, I don't think this one's one of them. I don't like saying it. I've never had a game that I was not like on this show. It said that I didn't want to play it.
Like not at all.
Don't think this is my style of game. I want to hear more about it because it sounds interesting. But as far as the gameplay, I can't do top down. Call of Duty arcade zombies.
I get that.
I can't make it work. I suck at it.
I get it. So here's the thing. We started on the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
So that in and of itself poses some issues. The aiming on console with this game is atrocious.
That is something I've heard from multiple people. Yeah. But I don't feel that way on PC. But still, that's not an excuse for the game by any means.
It comes down to on the PC. I really want to know what it's like on the PC. I want to give this game a fair shot on the PC.
Are you doing mouse and keyboard while you play Ascent?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so talk controls for us. So when it comes to the controller, you're moving with your left joystick and kind of aiming with your right, but you're essentially spinning in circles the entire time. What's the aiming for a mouse and a keyboard in this game?
I mean, it's pretty much the same. Like, if you move your mouse to the top left, your person faces the top left. But the nice thing about it is I don't have to rotate my mouse to turn around. I can just, so there's that. And I also think too, like, I think another thing that's like really overlooked in the game is just like how good like the cover shooting can be once you like learn how to use it, because it's not really, cover shooting isn't really a thing that you would think about in a twin stick shooter. It's like, no, you just dodge, but you can't because they have homing items and, some weapons home and stuff like that. And so it's like on PC, it's like standard, you press control to crouch. And when you use your aim or pop up over cover, like it plays like a cover based shooter. So it's a much better experience. You guys should definitely try it on PC.
Okay, yeah, definitely one that I want to try on PC. So let's go ahead and tell us nitty gritty about it. So progression as you're going through, we didn't have much. I mean, we ultimately had like one gun and basic clothes, and we're just walking around trying to solve things. Yeah. Well, how do you progress through the game? What are some of the advancements that you can make to your clothing, your firearms, everything?
Well, so at a fundamental level, you level up as you play, and you have a bunch of stats that you put those level up points into. So you can do things like improving your health, improving your reload speed, your how often you can dodge, which is a very core mechanic of the game. Critical hit as another example. So that's how you level up your character. As far as like itemization, there are multiple classes of guns, and the guns you start out with are like legitimately bad. You can upgrade your guns, but you may want to save your upgrades for slightly better versions of the guns that you start finding. So eventually you'll find a machine or an assault rifle that has a larger clip and hits harder. But then you might also find an assault rifle later on that's energy based because elements become important. Or you find an assault rifle that shoots homing bullets. Like that's rad, Yeah. And I mean, and that's just like there's a lot of like crazy guns. There's a little spoilery. Eventually, you find a minigun rocket launcher. Like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't hit super hard, but like it just like it'll clear a room like instantly.
That's mind blowing. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool guns. You just have to play long enough to get them. And then of course you upgrade the guns too to be more powerful. Then of course there's the item. As far as armor goes, you find armor that has different stats. So this particular piece of armor might be more regular or physical bullet damage resisting, or maybe you go into an area where they're primarily using energy weapons. So you might want to change your armor out to reflect the area. And then there's also like abilities, although those you don't really upgrade, but there are like abilities where there's one where you can like jump into battle and like you do like a slam onto the ground. So that'd be like a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, barbarian. That's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, like barbarian, and then you pull your shotgun out and you start shooting. Like, so there's a lot of depth within the game.
So one thing that they kind of, I don't want to say bugged me about the game, but I feel like other games have done better, I guess is probably the better way of going about it. There's no real lock-on system. I'm sure that there are when you actually have a homing system of some sort or whatever else, but there's no real lock-on. So when you're aiming or when you're trying to combat, there are times where it feels like you're kind of just firing from the hip, right? Like for lack of a better term, you're kind of just spraying and praying.
It's like what hits is gonna hit, and I'm like really grateful for that.
Right. Definitely go ahead. Sorry.
No, well, and I was going to say, and I think it probably feels that way because of how janky I think the Xbox controller controlling not the controller, the control scheme, how it works in the game. I think there's some truth to that, but that's also just kind of how twin stick shooters are. Like I think about like think Metal Slug, but now make it 3D and top down. I mean, it's kind of like that. Like it is spray and pray. And thankfully, mercifully, you don't have to manage ammo. Like you just have to reload.
I didn't actually notice that at all. That's kind of a valid point. That's kind of cool. I was not paying attention, if I'm honest. I don't think I got far enough to even.
Accuracy is a very secondary thing.
So the sprint tray mindset is not necessarily a bad one to have as long as you can get it near target. Okay, that's fair.
But also like later on you get sniper rifles, which there's no scoping. But if you are accurate, you eventually become, as you get more experienced and like learn how it works, like sniper rifles, like they rip so hard. they can like clear a line through people.
Okay.
So
that seems like something that would need more mouse and keyboard, the precision of like I can just click on the bad guy that way I know where it's actually gonna shoot.
This is one of those few games where I can legitimately argue that it is a different game when you switch your controller. I feel like if I played this game with mouse and keyboard, I would have so much more fun with it than I would.
Probably.
Very likely. Okay, so when it comes to overall mechanics, I mean, we've talked about how you upgrade, all of that fun stuff. So the only I'm gonna bring up probably the most petty thing in the history of pettiness towards video games. Okay. Their hint system pissed me off so much.
See, that went a different way. That went a different way than I thought.
Really?
You said it was a petty thing. I thought you were going to talk about how clean their feet were.
Right? No. Okay, so it pops up randomly on your screen. Okay, just randomly pops up, and at first,
apparently that's bugged.
It loops in with another thing. All right, so it's hard to tell when you're like hovered over something. Like you walk up to a terminal, whatever else. Which, by the way, it doesn't matter if you actually hit X or not. It'll still open the door for you, even if you don't initiate it. But it's hard to tell if what I did actually did anything. There's no indication that I just did something, right? And if you're over the top, if it's lowering a door, you're not necessarily seeing that. So between that and not knowing if what you're actually hitting is doing anything, when the hints would pop up on the screen, they make you hold. Instead of just hit B to close it, they make you hold it. And so I didn't realize I'm like trying to hit it, and I'm already having a problem with like knowing if what I'm hitting is the right thing because it doesn't feel like it's doing anything. So I'm hitting it. I'm in X, go away! And then it's not going. And then finally I realized, I need to hold it. And it got really annoying having to. I don't know why that was so why that bugged me so much, but it just probably anyway.
I think it's fair.
Pettiness.
It seems like a game that definitely could have used like a beta test. Like I don't know. It doesn't seem like that they did test it like outside the studio. And if they would have like allowed people to play it, like that would have been like a top 5 concern. Like the fact that you have to press and hold X to make it disappear. Like I know that sounds petty, but like with how many of those that appear in the game, that's a fair criticism.
Right. And it would pop up very randomly, and it got to the point where I was no longer reading the tips, so we ended up getting stranded for a long time because I was just pissed off at them popping up and not just going away when or not being re-accessible, which actually that's how we ended up moving on. Is I went back. They have all of them listed out for you. That's another thing that got to me though. If you're gonna list every single tutorial step for me in the menu, why pop it up on my screen? Give me one or the other. Let me do the tutorial or not. Like it's I don't know. That again, pettiness. It seems weird, but we didn't get far enough for me to say like, oh, if there's anything else really. It's So I feel like it's not totally a fair assessment, personally. But
craziest thing, you guys all said, you had petty complaints and no one said anything about feet. So
where are the feet coming from? No, I'm where's the feet coming from? What is petty?
Pedicure.
Oh my! What are you talking about?
That was a reach.
That was so. How did we get? Okay,
you invited me on your show, and then I said a really bad pun.
No, I'm not even saying that's a bad pun. That's not even a bad pun. It just It took us. We had to get there. Is what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, I
do
love
have a petty complaint about the game, though.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Petty complaint.
They ended up out of all the hairstyles, the best one I had was the side swipe, which looks like you're literally laying down a piece of American cheese on the side of his head. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's my petty complaint, and I also said nothing about feet, so that's
right.
where I'm at.
You know, I don't like necessarily saying anything negative about feet though, because they serve an awesome purpose. You know, holding you up.
The left
Okay,
one,
like
the right
honestly,
one.
like how do those little like things are like? They're like maybe a foot long.
How's it fair that if I lose
and
a
they
couple
still
toes,
hold
I
you
can't
up?
balance anymore? How's that fair?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut off an ear and you lose your balance too, though. I don't know how we got on this tangent, guys.
It got
Okay,
dark.
this got real weird real quick. We got here though. All right, guys. All right, the Ascent. I think we're just gonna give a quick. I know we spent more time on Back for Blood than we did on the Ascent. That was not the intent of this, but let's be honest here. Back for Blood ended up being, at least IMO, way more fun, and what I ended up wanting to do this week versus the Ascent, which again, not trying to bash, but like it was competing for me with Back for Blood, and it never stood a chance. So we may revisit it a little later on once we've had a chance to really play it. You know, once we tried, but
we did try.
Once you play the PC version.
Let's play the PC version. I have it installed. It is on Game Pass for anybody that doesn't know, anybody that hasn't played the Ascent. It is on Game Pass, so if you're really picking it up for either next to no money or, free, if you really want to look at it that way, because you need Ultimate now at this point to even have gold. So, essentially you're getting it for the cost of your streaming services and whatever else. So definitely worth at least checking out. I do recommend, if you get the chance, the biggest thing that I'm going to say about the game, play it on PC first. It is so janky on the Xbox. It hurt so heavily to play that. It's so bad.
Yeah. Unless you were like really killer on Call of Duty Arcade. I would try PC mouse and controller. I mean, mouse and keypad over controller.
Yeah.
Duke, what about you? What are your thoughts? We'll let you do another summary here. You've had a chance to really get into the game, so can you give us a good out of 10 score, please? As well.
Well, I think I got to talk about the biggest caveat about the game, specifically the Game Pass version on PC, which I know I just told you guys to play, but there is a huge caveat. The Game Pass version is out of sync with the Steam version. So the Steam version is the most up-to-date version of the game, and it has things like working multiplayer and a lot of optimizations. The Game Pass version does not. It's unclear whose fault it is. Some people say it's Microsoft's fault because they have a convoluted certification process for patches. I'm of the opinion that it's the developer's fault. Like, they should know these things, or they should push back the Game Pass release, or tell everyone, like, hey, by the way, these things aren't working in the Game Pass version. Like, they just released it, and then everyone was like, why are the two versions different? So, go ahead.
Actually, sorry, I wanna go ahead and add on. That's the opposite of what it was for other games. Everyone was what was it? Was it the Beast Inside? No, not the Beast Inside. The Evil Within. The Evil Within. So you have the Evil Within, where the Game Pass version was getting all of these upgrades, all of these extra things.
Yeah.
And the original didn't have them, and people were starting to get upset over it. So this is definitely the opposite of anything like that. That is really interesting, actually, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, content is one thing, but like patches that make improve the game or actually give you access to features that are supposed to be in the game, that's entirely different. Like, in my opinion, there's no excuse that the Game Pass and Steam version should ever be on, like, maybe within a day or so, just because of how deployment, software deployment works. But like, we're going on like 3 weeks, and it's still like multiplayer on PC still doesn't work.
Well,
it's kind of a joke.
They're taking steps to bring the game up to date.
Up to parity, which also, like, why, like, I wondered too, if nobody had complained about it, would they have ever done it? Because what's kind of interesting in the Game Pass version is that there is an option to enable DirectX 12, which gives you access to ray tracing and DLSS if you have the capable video card. We couldn't even turn that on launch day because the game was because that patch wasn't available. Now I can turn it on 2 weeks later, but I still can't play multiplayer.
That seems weird, especially for someone that for a game that is so. They were so big on it's our first of our every month new. No, I guess last month technically was Flight Simulator, but this is the game. This was the game of the month. It was their free game, day one launch Game Pass game of the month, and they really I would say the first time. I can't think of another time where they've really bungled it quite like this. Like this is their first real.
Does feel strange. I haven't heard many stories of having like 2 different versions of an IP out. But, this is it's weird to me, and that's kind of why I was curious. I was like, are they being transparent about their steps to bring the data and bring? The game up?
They have said as much that there is a gap between the 2 games, but like that's it. Like it appears like they don't have like a community, outreach person, to say like, like we know like it's out of parity. This is our approximate ETA. This is what we're working on. Like there's been like radio silence. Like they haven't posted anything that I've seen in the last week. I mean, they may have, but they'll occasionally respond to tweets, very occasionally. And so keeping those things in mind, my rating is like it's like a 5, and that's really unfortunate because it's as I said, it's one of the best looking games I've seen in a long time. The gameplay is really smooth, especially like once you like kind of get used to it. Like it plays extremely well, but you can't play multiplayer. Depending on where you play at what storefront, it's not the same game. And I can't wholeheartedly recommend buying this game because I don't know, like I can't because I don't think that what the developer has done is good.
And I can understand where you're coming from with that, especially when, I mean, it doesn't matter how fun the game is, how good it is, if they're not willing to put forth an effort to at least give us, at this point, I'm going to argue it's bare minimum to have ray tracing and everything. Like that's just kind of to be expected.
Well, if you say you're going to do it, then do it in every storefront version. If you're not going to implement it at all, like that's fine. Like not everyone has an RTX graphics card, as evidenced by the global chip shortage. But like if you say you're going to do it, like I shouldn't, and you're going to put it on 2 different storefronts where one of them is subscription based.
My off topic, my classic off topic. Dear Avengers, you owe me Spider-Man.
I was gonna say we've brought everything full circle again at this point.
We talked about Cyberpunk. I mean,
but you're not wrong. If you're gonna say like you're going to get this, deliver. That is actually, I will point out, that is one thing that I'll give the new Assassin's Creed games, of Valhalla in particular. They've delivered on what they've at least told us they were going to do. Hey, you're getting Siege of Paris, or hey, you're getting these updates free, or hey, and I'm not saying that it's a perfect, game. I'm not saying, it's not without its flaws, but at least they're staying true to their word. And No Man's Sky and all of those staying true to their word and actually fixing and bringing us what they promised. So I agree. I think that leads us absolutely wonderfully. In fact, guys, we have gone well over our time. I did elect to do it intentionally this time because Back 4 Blood beta, I mean, we're only going to get one weekend to actually do it during the beta, right? Like you're not going to get another. It fell so perfectly. So wanted to make sure we got a lot of time in here. And I definitely want to revisit this game. I want to be able to come back and say, hey, this, these are my full thoughts on it. I was able to get past all the issues that it had on the Xbox, whatever else. So I definitely hope that we can have a revisit to this game. But I think for now, that just about covers everything that I had for the Ascent. Doodles, anything you wanted to add about the game?
No, I think we covered it. I had my issues with it playing it, but that's something that I can easily get around if I try it on a different controller. You know what I mean?
Yeah, give it a fair shot on another system. See what we can do. I agree. Same. I mean, I have my issues with it. I definitely want to give it a fair take. So, Jeremy, anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think I've said everything I can say about the game. It's good, but there's an asterisk on it.
It's a good game with an asterisk, and I think
Yeah.
that is an absolute fair way to rate the game. So absolutely fantastic. All right, guys, a couple things before we go then. Just if you haven't already, go check out our merch line. It is is that even? Yeah, see, it's there. We have hats, mugs. I'm sure y'all saw my mug here. I got a sticker on it. Boom. Check it out.
Coffee mugs, shirts, and
So
more.
much more.
And more.
And more. We're gonna actually film one of these. Okay, now that we're starting to get things settled, right? We're trying to make a couple changes and whatever. As soon as we have that settled, we will shoot an awesome. I have an idea for a commercial for us, and we're gonna shoot it, and it's gonna be great. Anyway, so we're gonna just to plug that, guys. Please go follow all things Duke Mumford. Jeremy is absolutely fantastic. He does some great stuff for us, coming on, helping out, and brings some wonderful insight. So go follow him. He does a lot of live streams. Go ahead and talk about your stream for just a few moments here, Jeremy. What do you generally do on your stream?
I mostly play guitar. If you can't tell, it's kind of my thing. I play guitar. I take requests, and that's kind of like the main thing on my stream. But we also play games. Like we played Back 4 Blood today. I played Diablo 2 Resurrected yesterday. So we do a little bit of everything.
How real quick, because you caught my ear. How are you liking Diablo 2?
It's excellent. It's still as much of a pain in the ass as Diablo 2 has always been. Like, I don't know why stamina is still in the game, but at the same time, though, it's a very faithful recreation with really minor modernizations, like auto gold pickup, expanded stash, things like that.
So nothing to scream from the rooftops yet.
Well, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on how you feel about the original Diablo 2, which for me was like hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of my life. So,
with 3.
So I'm excited.
Don't want to get too far into that because that will stem into a whole other thing. Definitely appreciate you coming on, guys. Go follow all things Scott, all things Doodly as well. Don't want to miss out as anything he tweets. He's definitely a funny little tweeter.
At the Doodly Do, all things very inconsistent and very enjoyable when it shows up.
Yeah, follow me as well at NatesLegend. You can follow me there. I do some tweeting and stuff. I think. I'm mostly okay. If you guys want to know what our news segments are going to be, follow my Twitter. I will actually be tweeting. I try to retweet some of the stories and things that I want to talk about. If you guys have anything that you want to talk, any opinions before the show even begins, just send me a tweet. Reply to those tweets there. Let us know what your thoughts are, and we absolutely will respond. Make sure to include you in the show. By all means, please, interaction. We love hearing from you guys. It's absolutely fantastic, and we love it. That's all that I have. Let me make sure everything is in order. First off, we're gonna go ahead and put our names back up on there. Second of all, we're gonna throw this on up here. And guys, by all means, please take care of your mental health, and as always, keep gaming.